Good evening, cruisers. I'm Joe, and in tonight's fun show, we get to talk to Sheri, a fellow cruise vlogger who has an amazingly fun channel on YouTube called CruiseTipsTV. We also have another sweet vacation photo from one of you lucky cruisers making me jealous, a look at a crazy complaint, and of course, we get to reveal who my new amazing co-host is going to be. So keep watching, because this is Cruise Week TV Live. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our weekly web show. I'm Joe, and between Matt and myself, we bring you a weekly show all about cruising. But we are far from experts. We are still newbies, so to speak, and that's why we bring on experts to talk with us and with you to answer your questions, and that way we can all learn about new things together. Later on in the show, I'm going to be revealing my new co-host, and so you're going to have to watch for that big announcement a little later. Also, my guest tonight is the very wonderful Sheri from CruiseTipsTV. It's CruiseTipsTV, by the way, the show that I came across about 2 months ago, and I loved her fun and upbeat videos, so I just had to reach out to her and get her on the show. But before we talk to Sheri, I want to tell you first about vMix, our sponsor of the show, because without vMix, we wouldn't be able to produce the amazing show that we are able to produce every week. vMix is a live streaming platform that runs on a Windows PC and enables us to produce high quality live shows. With vMix, you can even bring on up to 8 remote guests at the same time and mix them live in real time. vMix gives you a totally free 60-day trial of the software with no credit card needed, so you need to check that out for yourself. Go to vmix.com today and bring your show to the next level. So, CruiseTipsTV has been around for over 3 years, and Sheri and her husband produce an incredible weekly video, and they do it in a very fun, upbeat fashion. And so far, they've got over 14,000 YouTube subscribers and a fast-growing fan base. So first, let me show you a clip from one of their videos so you guys can see why they are so popular.
Alrighty. What should I wear on my Royal Caribbean cruise is a question we get quite often. And while we've briefly addressed the question in the past, we realized it's still a source of concern and even controversy, particularly when it comes to the good old formal night, right? Maybe you don't like to dress up and wonder what is acceptable for admittance to the dining room. Or perhaps you love to dress up but don't want to be the only one in an evening gown or a tux on formal night. Well, we're going to try and clear that all up for you. And we have pictures.
Guys, joining us all the way from Santa Barbara, California is Sheri from CruiseTipsTV. Sheri, welcome to the show. Welcome to Cruise Week TV.
Thank you so much. Hey, sirs. So glad to be here.
Well, we're glad to have you on the show. And I love the clip, by the way, about formal night, because we had a question of the week like a couple weeks ago. Someone was like, our question of the week was what people like to do on formal night. Some people actually told me they like to dress up in zombie attire or ninja attire and go straight to the main dining room. I haven't seen any pictures of it yet, but I'm trying. Have you had any of that? Or?
Well, you need to, yeah. No, I haven't seen any of those yet. I mean, on a Halloween cruise, that could happen, but I'd like to see if they get kicked out. And I guess it depends on the cruise line, right?
I suppose it would, depending on what cruise line you're cruising with. I suppose some of them could kick you out of the formal dining room. So I'm excited. I'm glad to have you on the show. I've been watching your videos, and it's nice to get someone's perspective who is on the opposite coast from where we are, because we always sail out of like Port Canaveral or Fort Lauderdale. We always go to like the Caribbean islands, Bahamas. And don't get me wrong, those are beautiful destinations, but you get different destinations from a port on the western coast. Tell me, what are some of your favorites over there?
Yeah, definitely. We definitely tend to stick to our coast because it's less expensive. We don't have to fly, and it's really convenient. So some of our favorites are the Mexican Riviera, which is really convenient for us. We can jump down to LA or San Diego and even San Francisco, and you can hit Mazatlan, Cabo San Lucas, and Puerto Vallarta. And while they're not really tropical and Caribbean locations, they're warm. Florida is somewhat tropical, and they're beautiful, and it's a really inexpensive way to travel. We also love to go to Alaska. We can actually drive to kind of a cheap flight just up to Seattle and hit Alaska. So those are some of our favorite local destinations.
Alaska is one of the ones that makes me jealous. That is totally on my bucket list, is to go to Alaska one day and see like the glaciers. I hear it's absolutely beautiful. I hear it's cold. I'm a Florida boy. I don't do cold too well, but I hear it's beautiful. I'd be able to tough it out for that.
Do it.
Yeah, I'd be able to tough it out for that.
It's worth the flight. It's worth the flight for the change. It's definitely mellow. Though. Obviously the weather's different. You'll even have some warm days. There are days in Alaska where you could be up in the morning and it could be 40 degrees and you're looking at glaciers. And you're down to 75 degrees 2 hours later. So it's one of those places it's all about layers. But it's definitely a wonderful experience. I think most people who hit Alaska get kind of addicted to that grandeur. And just the fact that on a cruise up there, you can see places that you really couldn't see in any other way, in Alaska anyway.
So how many cruises have you been on so far? I know you must have been on a lot to have started up a whole channel on about your passion and your husband's passion for cruising.
I think I've kind of lost count, but I think we're somewhere in the 24 to 25 zone. We had been cruising before we started this channel, so I really need to get better about writing them down and counting them and making sure that I add to them when we get back, but probably somewhere in the 24, 20.
So what cruise lines, what are your favorite ones to sail on? Do you have
oh man, I know I get that a lot. We get that a lot, and we actually we cruise the most with Princess, and we love Princess for a lot of reasons, but we also sail a lot with Carnival. We love the fact that Carnival is fun, just like they say there. What we love about Princess is the traditional cruising experience. Same with Holland America. We've taken several Holland America cruises that we absolutely love. We like Norwegian for the fact that you can have a lot more different dining experiences. We love the freestyle con. We love all of the a la carte restaurants. And the fact that if you don't want to dress up for formal night on Norwegian, you don't have to. We like Royal Caribbean as well, but we've had less experience with Royal Caribbean because there just aren't as many ships out here. So it's who your favorite is. I just can't tell when people ask me, but we do most with Princess and Carnival in general.
So we have a question coming in from our viewers. Tammy Williams Allen wants to ask: are there any secrets to getting onboard credit with any cruise lines you sail on?
Ooh, secrets to getting onboard credit, Tammy. I think booking early is probably one of your better bets for onboard credit because promotions tend to sneak up a little bit early. Others have to look for it. Also, you set up a price alert on your cruise so that if you see the price come down, you can get it repriced. And then what you can do is you can actually call the cruise line or your agent, better yet, your travel, and see if you see some kind of a promotion pop up that has onboard credit, you can just rebook the entire cruise. Most cruise lines don't want to do, so they'll do what they can to score that onboard credit for you. Oh, one more. You know what? I just thought of more tip, Joe. One more really good tip would be to future cruise booking while you're on board. So most cruise lines have some kind of a future cruise desk. And if you put down a small deposit for your next cruise, they'll give you some onboard credit, and the deposit applies to your next cruise, so you really don't lose anything by doing that. It's you have to decide that you're going to take a cruise that line in the near future.
So about how many cruises, now for your web show, how many cruises do you do per year? And during your cruises, do you do it like your show every across the whole cruise, or do you do multiple shows per cruise, or what's your format for that?
Well, we probably, to answer your first question, we cruise about 2 to 4 times a year, just depending on how we're doing, with normal life and work, dances and things like that. On a good year, it's 3 to 4 cruises. And then with regards to the vlogging on the ship and how we do all of that, we actually haven't always vlogged on board, something that we've only done a few cruises, so that's kind of a new experience that our subscribers were asking us to do it. They said, turn the camera around, come on to you. And so we finally decided to do as we do daily vlogging. So we will vlog as much as we possibly can throughout the entire cruise. That night, I actually film and edit our vlogs on my iPhone, this little guy right here, using iMovie. I try to edit them on board and when I get home. So we post them, and we have to kind of queue up episodes before we go on a cruise. So it's a lot of work before we go on vacation. We're usually really busy because you figure we post twice a week, weekly and a weekly tip segment. We have to pre-record a few and have them kind of queued up before we go. Did I point there? Did we get everything answered on that one?
Yeah, definitely.
Did we get them? Okay, good.
I think so. Yeah, absolutely. So
Okay.
what about your inspiration for the topics of the videos? Every video that I've seen of yours has been so different. Like I've seen some of your videos where you've brought like different, like you've talked just about Embarkation Day, or you've talked just about like, and one you particularly talked about Alaska, I remember. So where do you get your inspiration for does it come from the viewers, or does it just from your personal experience, things that you think that other people might want to know?
Yeah, it's a combination of those. We do like subscriber-inspired episodes the most because we find them to be the most fun, and it's something that we didn't originally think of. So after when we film a video at the end, we usually say your episode is in the comments below, and a lot of times we'll pull our episode ideas from what people are asking about if we can. Sometimes we just won't have knowledge on a subject. We'll do that without a lot of research. So someone may ask in June, and we can't have an episode ready until December because we don't know a whole. It always seems like, gosh, you run out of topics, and I keep asking myself that. I'm like, wait a minute, are we ever, gonna run out of topics? This is really scary, but it's pretty clear that we won't, and we also will do something, recycle. For example, money saving tips. Something that always wants, since the industry changes so much, we might re-film a video that once 2 years has gone, and the cruising world has changed a little bit.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point. I don't think you'd ever run out of any topics either. Like you said, the industry does change quite a bit. It changes. It changes so much. It's almost constant. So do you do what do you outside of Cruise Tips TV, your normal life? I mentioned, I saw in your intro video on your YouTube page, you said that don't worry, we won't forget our day jobs. What is it that you do for a day job, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, I'm in Maine. I work for a large corporation for 20 years, and my husband is a web developer and a professional videographer to bring our skill there.
So that must be why he's tech savvy, because I know he works behind the scenes on all of your videos.
Yes, exactly. He does. We're always learning too, because we're mixing it up. A few months ago, we tried our first live stream, and that was a totally new experience. It was trying and really hard to kind of coordinate all of the technology, especially because we have two computers going simultaneous, which is nothing compared to what you guys are doing. But he likes to stay on his toes, and he has to try new things that really put him outside of his comfort zone. So we try to stretch a bit every couple of months and surprise people.
I tell you, honestly, when you said live streaming, that was the first thing that came to my mind. Was like, well, we don't know what that's like at all over here. Oh, goodness.
Yeah, no, you can't imagine total blackouts, and it's really stressful at the time. It's rewarding when it's happening and afterwards, but oh man, I talk about feeling a little sweaty. I tell you, it's an adrenaline pumper, isn't it?
Yeah, stressful is one word for it, for sure. Yeah, so Barbara Pepper has a question for you. She wants to know if you ever collect anything cruise related.
Oh, I love that question. Barbara, I don't have a specific item that I buy on every cruise, but we have recently started collecting Christmas ornaments from destinations, not necessarily the cruise line or cruise from a place that we might go. For example, a couple of years ago when we were in Alaska, we got these cute little muckluck boot type things in Alaska that everybody wears in Alaska. They're those brown, kind of chalk brown boots with like a white lining on them, and it was just, it would make us remember our trip. So some Christmas ornaments. I do have a few little model types of things, but I'm not too consistent with my collecting.
So now with the ornaments, are you pretty close to a full set on a Christmas tree yet?
No. I own like 4 or 5. It's terrible. And I'm kind of getting some snow globes thrown in there too. So I need to one. It's either snow globes or ornaments. So we're getting there. But we need to go on more cruises, Joe.
Absolutely. And snow globes would be an awesome addition, especially for a Christmas tree. I find one in Alaska that says Gnome Sweet Gnome on it. I've seen those somewhere.
Oh, Oh, I
So
love that. I've got to look for one of those.
yeah, they're pretty cute. I've seen them. I've only seen them on eBay, but you got to go to Alaska to get them too. So I mean,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
makes better for a better story. So Michael Franklin Poole has a question for you. He wants to know what your next cruise is going to be.
Michael, hey, Michael, I think I recognize your name from Instagram. I know Matt talks to you. We have several cruises planned. We're going to the Mexican Riviera soon. I'm hoping to jump on the Carnival Miracle this summer. And we are also going to Alaska this summer. And we are going on Panama Canal Cruise in the winter. And we're going on Norwegian Bliss somewhere, somehow next year. So we have a few things in the hopper. They're all a little bit different, and we're really excited.
Excellent, excellent. Well, it's always nice to have your cruises planned out far enough ahead of time. I've only got the one far off kind of plan, and it wasn't even planned. It wasn't even anything I planned, so it was planned out for me. They didn't take me on the last cruise I went on. I know, it's not even fair.
No, they can't leave you behind ever again.
So out of all the destinations that you've been to, and I hear that you've been to a lot, Sheris Colley wants to know, out of all those destinations, what is your favorite destination that you've been to and why?
Oh, wow. It's hard to narrow it down, so I have to go with one warm weather destination and one cool weather destination because I just can't compare them. For warm weather destinations, I would say that in the Caribbean, we really love the baths on Virgin Gorge. So any cruise that goes to Tortola, you can fare over to Virgin Gorge and swim and hike and just be in total awe of those that landmark. I can't remember what it's classified, but I know it's kind of a top 20 life experience. We also really love glacier days in Alaska. I don't think there's anything better than waking up early in the morning and walking out on deck and kind of a slow approach to a glacier and looking out, to your right and seeing icebergs everywhere, but still hearing absolutely no sound at all. So that's kind of my second favorite experience.
That's pretty awesome. So now, earlier you had a question from Michael Poole, who you mentioned you saw him in Instagram. Or so, what is your Instagram, just in case that's something that happened, or anyone else wants to follow you on Instagram?
Yeah, our Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter name is CruiseTipsTV. No spaces, no dots, no underscores, no nothing. Just CruiseTipsTV.
CruiseTipsTV, right? CruiseTipsTV?
Yes.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. The audio got a little bit shaky there for a second. So now, doing your web show, like doing all the time, like you must have a lot of difficulties doing that. What would you say the hardest part is about doing a web show? I know when I was doing when I had my YouTube channel, I was doing. I think my hardest part was trying to meet the deadline every single week because I set that dedeadline for myself, and of course, life sometimes gets in the way. But do you have any
That's a really interesting question. I thought you meant at first kind of like doing live stream. What are the difficulties? But I think now what you're is just staying on schedule, something on a weekly basis. Yeah, it's tough because we post twice weekly, and so we have our vlogs, which are more free form. We're just answering questions, and there's less planning. But the most difficult part of doing the videos is creating content, because as any writer out there knows, and we're not writers, we're vloggers and video contenters, but we write our content. And writing the average episode takes anywhere from probably 2 to 8 hours, depending on the topic and how you're a topic. For example, when we did our research recently on norovirus and did that, it took me off and on with daily life and work and things it took me a whole week kind of back to it to write. So I would definitely, writing episodes is the most difficult thing. So we actually love it when we get a chance to vlog. We get a chance to go on a trip. Actually, our content is just live because we know that the tip is really important, but it's a lot more work.
So out of all, you've been doing this for about 3 years now, is that correct?
Yeah, 3.5, going on 4.
Okay, so about 3.5 going on 4 years. And all that time, do you have a favorite episode you've done or an episode that you did that you thought was just really strange and after it was done, you looked at it, you were like, wow. Tell me about some of those moments.
You know, I'm really sentimental about so that we did at the beginning of the year. So when the new year kicked off, we decided to do a year in review episode. You know, we saw other people doing it on social media. We saw kind of recapping their year. And when I went back and looked at all of the stuff done in 2016, I told them, this is an episode. We've got to do this. You know, everything that we did, the videos that were most popular, the land vacation that we took that wasn't even a cruise, the fact that we made the uncomfortable decision to turn the cameras around and start vlogging. And when the episode was done, my husband had edited in a bunch of B-roll from all of those moments. The B-roll was all a total surprise to me, and I was like kind of emotional. It was really really cool to see all that we had done and to relive it. And part of what makes this so special is that as a family hobby, we're preserving all of our family memories. Of course, we're sharing it with our wonderful community, but this is something that we'll have the rest of our lives too.
So now you've had some like interesting moments. I'm sure, like I know you've had those interesting moments. You've had you've had a lot of fun on your cruise ships. What is it that you think makes people so attracted to cruising? I know, like when Zach's when they started me on this show here, I was thinking I can't imagine. I didn't know how many people were actually interested in watching shows about cruising, about that form of vacation. What is it that you think people are so attracted to about when they're on land watching TV, watching shows about cruising and listening to blogs about cruising? What do you think is so popular about that, or is becoming so popular about that?
It's hard to say. I think everybody feels a little bit differently about it, but I think that cruising is special because it creates a sense of community. Most times you don't have, you go to an all-inclusive resort, you might somebody 1 or 2 times a week, but there really isn't that sense of community. And I think a lot of people are drawn to that. But I think that what draws people to cruising and to kind of watching cruise-related content is that people want to prepare. They want to go into their cruise knowing what to expect. What's going to happen when I go to the dining room? What is food going to look like? What will the embarkation process be like? So I think it's that preparation. There are 2 people, the ones that want to go on a vacation and have absolutely no idea what to expect. And there are people who have lists for everything. They start packing 3 weeks in advance and they've got it all done. So I think that, preparation-minded people do love to watch cruise-related. I think that, it's vicarious living, right? You experience the kind of romance of the sea. Maybe watching other people's content, something like that gets you excited for your cruise or helps you to relive those memories.
I can see that for sure, living vicariously through, and that was something I had thought of at first too, but I wasn't sure. I wasn't 100% sure, but since you mentioned that it's something that the more preparation-minded people like to watch, I think that I can totally agree with you there. So we have a question coming in. This one's from Pippa Madden. She wants to know what your favorite ship is.
Oh, Pippa! My favorite ship. Well, this is difficult because I like a lot of the Grand Class Princess ships, and they're all kind of the same. They have some things that I really like. So I'm gonna go with Grand Class Princess ships in general. And one that I really love about class ships is that they have covered and heated pools. You could be in a place like Alaska, and you could be swimming in the middle of the day that you're eating the glacier, and it's warm and it's balmy, and you can have a cocktail, and you don't have to feel like you're on an Alaskan. That's one of the things that I love the most about them. And they also have some really wonderful viewing areas. Some of those ships still have those Skywalker's lounges, like deck 16 or 18, and you have basically a 160-degree view of the ocean up there. So there's a lot of things that I like about those ships, and I love mini cabins on those ships as well. can't afford to sail in them, but they're really special, and they have bathtubs, which is a luxury on a cruise. So I hope that answers this question.
All the cruises, all the advice that you give, this is what I mean when I say at the beginning of our show that we bring on the experts. We bring on the people that have done it before. They know what they're talking about. How many of all the cruises you've been on, how many of them have you had to fly to a different destination for?
Quite a few. I'd say at least half, because we've several of our cruises. We flew to our Canada, New England cruise, Quebec, and Boston, and we flew Florida quite a bit. So probably at least half.
And it's kind of more of a hassle, I know, to fly to a destination to get onto a cruise ship. And it's do you have any tips for maybe any of your viewers who might have booked a cruise that they have to fly to their destination to get on their cruise ship and then get back to their destination and fly back home?
Yeah, I think when you're flying to a cruise, you have to pack a little bit lighter. And anybody who's been watching our channel knows I'm not a light packer, but we do have episodes that we've researched and dedicated to that pain area. So usually my advice is surrounding packing when it comes to things like that. Like, take fewer pairs of shoes, take shoes that don't even bother taking the really uncomfortable tight stilettos or whatever uncomfortable tight shoes that those may be for you. And just more preparation is key. If there's things that you can buy when you get to port instead of your embarkation destination, instead of packing them in your flight bag, that's always really helpful as well. And then things like flying in the day before the cruise and never the day of, always a good idea. I've heard horror story after horror story about people missing their cruise. That's probably my top 3 or 4.
Well, Sheri, we're going to have time for one more question from our viewing audience, and this last question is going to come from Alex Rose. He wants to know, since you cruise Princess so much, I'm sorry, I got tongue-tied. What differentiates Carnival from Princess? Because he's never been on Princess, and what would you expect different from Carnival?
Okay, sounds good. That's a really good question, and we do sail both of them, and we like both of them for different reasons. On Carnival, you're going to have more of a lively, upbeat atmosphere, and depending on where you cruise, of year that is, like if you're on a spring break cruise versus cruise when everybody's back in school, you may even be on more of a cruise with party atmosphere. There's going to be more nightlife on Carnival. So that's in short. A Princess cruise, generally speaking, again, totally depends on time of year and where you're going, and the duration of the cruise is going to be an older clientele. It's going to be a little refined experience, although we find Carnival to have great food and to have extremely good customer service as well. Princess is just simply a little bit more upscale, so you're going to have more options in Princess, a few more perks as well. Carnival is more of a budget line, and it's not to say that they don't spoil you and pamper you, but there are going to be a few more corners that are cut when your cruise is less expensive. And the reality is that on a line like that, you're going to have a few less luxuries. But Princess and Carnival, they're not terribly different. They're owned by the same corporation, but I think that Princess is considered a bit more of a premium line, and it definitely rings true. But the biggest difference is going to be a more mellow atmosphere and an older clientele and slightly more refined experience.
Sheri, I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's been a pleasure having you on our show. And before we leave you, I want you to tell us, where can people go to find more of your videos? And where can they go to find your Instagram, if you want to mention that one more time for us?
Okay, you got it, no problem. The best place to check us out is on YouTube at youtube.com/CruiseTipsTV. We also have a YouTube channel that you can access through CruiseTipsTV called Here, where we review all kinds of stuff that you might want to take on a cruise, everything backpacks, camera equipment, to beauty products and things like that. On Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, we are at CruiseTipsTV, and we have a good old website at CruiseTipsTV.com.
Excellent. Sheri, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll let you get back to your lovely life out there in Santa Barbara, California.
Thank you so much, Joe.
All right, and now it's time for us to hear about a crazy complaint from the Crazy Complaints Corner. All right, now the complaint this week, this one comes from a man who was screaming about a bill for over $2,000 on his Sail and Sign card. Now, most of the charges on that bill were for spa and beauty treatments and massages. He didn't realize his wife had gone to do all those things, and when he saw the bill, he said, "No, my wife never used a credit card. She only showed them her room key." Wah, wah, wah. And then they gave the services to her. His card is the one that he said that they used to charge the drinks and things to. You know, I wonder if he says the same thing when he goes shopping with his wife at the mall. And more curiously, I wonder if that actually works. Oh, goodness. We see some crazy complaints here. But you know what? If you work with guests for a cruise line and you have a crazy complaint story, please, you have to email it to us. Email it to complaintstories@cruiseweek.tv. And also, please tell us how you resolved it. We want to hear from you. So, if you're here in our chat room, give us a hi and make a guess as to my new co-host is going to be. I'm about to give you a hint. Your hint is this. It's a he, and he knows a lot about Royal Caribbean. So be sure to, that's all I'm going to say. So be sure to post your guesses in the chat rooms now. Of course, I'm not going to say if you're right or wrong, but let's see how many of you were right when I announce it a little later on in the show. So, our next big cruise is coming up in October. We call this our Season 2 cruise, where we'll be picking up 5 brand new cruisers, and we'll be taking them on a 7-day, one-of-a-kind cruise and live stream the wonder and excitement that they experience. So, here's Matt to tell you a little bit more about that. Matt!
Hey there, I'm Matt, and we're back for Cruise Week Season 2. Last season was amazing. Back then, I was just a newbie to cruising, and I went with cameraman Zach and 4 of my friends on our first ever cruise. We took you all along with us, and we showed you the fun and antics we got up to, and the rookie mistakes we made, as we tried to learn all about life on a cruise ship. I have to say, it was quite the learning experience. With thousands of people watching live and giving us advice, helping and guiding us through the voyage, we made it. And I think we got a little addicted, so we are back. In Season 2, we're going to do things a little bit differently. I am no longer the newbie, but we'll be hosting 5 other new cruisers, both male and females, as they set sail on their first ever cruise. We have already gotten permission from both Carnival and Royal for unrestricted access to host Cruise Week on their ships, and I'm totally looking forward to it. This season, we're planning to come back bigger and better than ever, with more of the unforgettable moments you can only get at sea. With even better cameras and internet, we'll be able to involve you more, both on and off the ship, as we follow our 5 first-time cruisers from their first steps on till they return 7 days later. In Season 2, we'll be changing it up by letting you vote on who gets to be on the cruise with us. We'll be accepting applications from first-time cruisers, and when we have narrowed it down to 20 hopefuls, you will be able to watch their interviews and application videos. Then you get to vote on the final 5. Our cameras are going to take you behind the scenes, showing you 7 days through the eyes of our new cruisers as they interact with guests and crew and experience everything that cruising has to offer, giving you unprecedented access to one of the world's biggest cruise lines. With 2 cameramen and myself as the host, we'll be able to improve on our already amazing response and make Season 2 better than ever. Of course, we can't do this without your support, so we're asking you to help make Season 2 a reality. With your help, we can achieve our funding goals and start our interview on our next round of applicants. Thank you so much for your support and helping us make Cruise Week Season 2.
That was an awesome video, Matt, and it made me quite jealous. So, thanks to everyone who has watched Season 1 from the Carnival Magic, and we hope you guys continue to share those videos around so that more people can watch all the fun they had. I say they, not we. I wasn't there. So, now it's time for a picture of the week featuring one of you lucky cruisers. This week's picture is going to come from Rachel Verity, as she's doing skydiving on the Anthem of the Seas last year. A few years ago, you would have never thought that you could go skydiving at sea level. Gosh, the things they keep adding to these cruise ships is simply amazing. And honestly, in that picture, it looks a lot less dangerous than having to jump out of an airplane and do it from thousands and thousands of feet up in the air. It still looks like a lot of fun. I have to get myself onto some more of these Royal Caribbean ships. Anyway, Rachel, thank you so much for sending that great picture in. And cruisers, remember, if you want to be featured on our show, be sure to send in your cruise photos to photos@cruiseweek.tv or post it on Facebook, use the hashtag CruiseWeekTV, and we will be sure to find it. Also, remember that we have loads of great videos from our tips, plus tech and money-saving tips on our website at CruiseWeek.tv. And if you like our trips and this show, you can support us by joining our Inner Circle group. Just go to CruiseWeek.tv/support, and for as little as $1 a month, you guys can support our show and get access to our Inner Circle group. If you want to donate more, we have some great gifts as our way of saying thank you for your support. Among those is a great CruiseWeek.tv Inner Circle t-shirt that's only available to our members, and we thank everyone who supports our show. So, it's come to that time in the show. I know you guys are all wondering who my new co-host is going to be. You posted your guesses into the chat, so let's see who's correct and who isn't. You know what? Rather than me introducing him, I think I'm just going to let him introduce himself.
Hey, I'm Matt from Royal Caribbean Blog, and I just wanted to stop by to say I've got some great news that I'm going to be co-hosting the Cruise Week show with Joe every other week, and I'll be bringing you some news and insights from all things Royal Caribbean. I'll pick a topic each time, and you can ask me questions, and I'll do my very best to answer them. I'm super excited to be working with these guys and giving you some great Royal Caribbean information. My first show on Cruise Week TV will be on May 6th at 8 p.m. And in the meantime, you can find me every day at RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com. See you around.
Yeah. Yes! I am super excited to be joined by Matt Hochberg from Royal Caribbean Blog. As he's going to be my co-host, and together we're going to be bringing you guys some amazing interviews, news, and information all about Royal Caribbean. I'm going to be seeking out some great guests from the Royal Caribbean side to bring onto the show. And also, the other Matt, along with his co-host Shari and cruise director Jess from the U.S., are going to be focusing more on Carnival news and updates, while myself and Matt from Royal Caribbean Blog are going to be focusing on everything Royal Caribbean. Now, of course, we have some guests that are going to be able to cover both sides, such as like island tour operators, people that can tell you about other cruise-related things and that can help you no matter what cruise line you choose to sail on. So we hope you tune in every week to get all that you can from our shows. You can get the best news from any show every week. Also, if you guys have any suggestions for any of our guests or upcoming shows, please feel free to drop us an email. Send it to Zach@CruiseWeek.tv. That'll get it to our producer, Bird, and he's going to be able to set up things for future shows. So, well, I think that about wraps things up, cruisers. I'm going to be back in about 2 weeks with another special guest, my new co-host, Matt from Royal Caribbean Blog, and plenty of cruise information for new cruisers and seasoned veterans alike. Next week, Matt, Shelley, and Jess are going to be back with their guest, who is Carnival Cruise Director turned PVP. They call him Big Sexy, so they're going to be talking with him. Jess is going to show you how to make a towel animal puppy, and she's also going to talk about the ship's morgue, amongst other things. Hey, you guys asked about the morgue, you're getting it. And also, Shally is going to be live from the Carnival Valor, where she's going to be showing us around on her group cruise. Apparently, Matt has been told to wear cheetah prints to fit in. But we're going to have to wait and see what that's all about next week. Until then, as always, cruisers, stay fun, and we'll see you on the ships. Later.